Kız yigit xurlangan, ayak asti kılıngan, ezilgen şu halkının, kollarını süygün baminin, her yadım asman felek, dökülgeçke kan selde, ejderhanın vaksedim, Vatanımni algın baminin, Afgan Uyghur mey, Vatan kuldun her güçletli gey, Ay yıldız ayrılığım, Kötü yüzüne Türk'üm baminin.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear brothers and sisters, welcome to another special episode of Talkies Turkestan. We have a very special guest. He's not a stranger to our stream. Today with us, we have Dr. Erkin Sidiq. Now, for those of you who don't know Dr. Erkin Sidiq, you can check out our previous episodes with him if you just simply type in Erkin Sidiq at Talkies Turkestan. He is the senior advisor to the World Uyghur Congress and the president and founder of the Uyghur Academy. I'd like to welcome to Dr. Erkin Sidiq to our show to talk about the most recent developments and the on-the-ground news that has been happening to our brothers and sisters in Chinese-occupied East Turkestan. Welcome, Dr. Erkin Sidiq. How are you today?
Very good. Thank you very much for having me here.
Obviously, we love to have you on our stream. For those of you who don't know, Dr. Erkin Sidiq, through his Twitter feed, make sure you check it out. It's at Erkin Sidiq on Twitter, and you can get the most recent stuff that hasn't been published, on the news, and then it gets published after. So make sure you follow him there. I'll pop it up here on the screen as well. So welcome to our show. Let's get started off. Could you please tell us what's recently been happening in our homeland to the Uyghurs? As we know, the Winter Olympics are approaching. The Olympics symbolize freedom, but the Uyghurs seem to be getting crushed more and more as these Winter Olympics, or what we call the genocide games, approach.
Yes, the CCP regime recently took actions in several fronts. The one is they basically eliminated all the people who can send messages to the outside world. I lost many of my informants in the recent couple of months. This is one big thing. The Chinese government knows that Western governments and international institutions work with evidence. So they basically doing two things. One is to destroy the evidence. Second is to get rid of all the people who can send out a message about the evidences, this kind of things. Another thing that's happening recently is on November 2nd, the central government in East Turkestan held a secret meeting for Chinese CCP officials, high-rank officials, and in which they announced that a new round of Strike Hard campaign just started, which ends January 6th of 2022. Some people asked me why on November 12th. As you know, the World Uyghur Congress held a congress starting November 12th. And November 12th also the memorial day of two East Turkestan republics established in 1933 and 1944. It looks like Chinese government just chose that day to hold this meeting and make this announcement. And the main target that they are having in mind is to arrest all the people who have relatives in Turkey and in other Islamic countries. I continuously getting some information. Some of them I just got it today. Initially, I heard they are targeting people with relatives in Turkey, but in fact, it's broader than that. They are targeting people who have relatives in all Islamic countries. So This is the second. This is another front that the Chinese government doing things right now. Very sadly, all the recent videos that we are getting, the Uyghur people working in a desert in a field, something like that, about 70 to 80% are women, females, no male. This is one thing. And you can see that the males have disappeared from the Uyghur society. And this strike hard. I don't know who else they can arrest, because the people outside the prisons and the concentration camps and the forced labor factories, right now, there are very few Uyghurs living out there, and they are still doing this strike hard campaign. After 5 years of the world's condemnation, criticism, whatever, the world tried to exert some pressure on China for the last 5 years after China started mass scale of arrest, Uyghur genocide, but still nothing changing on the ground. Like a new round of strike hard started just about 2 months before, or 2-3 months before the Winter Olympic will start in Beijing. This situation is very tragic.
For those who don't understand what a strike hard campaign is, could you please entail what happens in such a campaign?
The Chinese government has conducted many rounds of strike hard campaign. Initially, they targeted so-called three forces: extremist, radical Islamist, and the separatist kind of. That's how they started. It's an excuse for them to arrest the Uyghurs in mass scale. So they did this again and again. And as you know, that the recent years, Uyghur didn't have any rights. We call basic human rights. You cannot find anything from the Uyghur about these rights. So not all the people who are not jailed or put in a concentration camp or put in forced labor factories, they don't have any freedom. They cannot even don't say something. They cannot look at a Han Chinese with angry eyes. The situation is like that, but they are still doing the strike hard. Basically, it's an excuse to arrest Uyghurs in mass scale. That's what they are doing. It's an excuse, basically.
We can see images here. I mean, we know that East Turkestan is a very resourceful area, but as we can see, resources are very skim recently. Could you speak to what's been happening with regards to this? We see, we've heard of people starving and not getting food. Could you speak to more about this, please?
Yes, recently we got some video, people basically exposing what's going on in East Turkestan. As we all know, China is having a crisis in terms of coals because they stopped importing from Australia, and they have a big problem. And East Turkestan is full of resources in coal or other natural resources. And there's some video, the people in some video say that no, Uyghur people are dying not from coronavirus or from other things, but because of the starvation and the cold. So in the recent couple of months, the Chinese government did another round of lockdown. They locked down many cities in East Turkestan, and people, they didn't have food to eat, they didn't have water to drink, and they didn't have coal to heat the house. So some people are saying they're going to die of starvation and cold. We got some video like that.
We've seen sort of the politics, especially recently. We've heard Joe Biden saying that the US is considering a diplomatic boycott of the games. What do you think of what he said, and is this enough?
First, this is at least what the Western countries can do, including the USA, because the Uyghur genocide carried out by the Chinese government, it is in a scale that seen very little in the history of the humanity. Even the Holocaust during the World War II, so far the outside world knows very little about what really happened in East Turkestan, because the Chinese government didn't allow anybody, foreign reporters, visitors, investigators, observers on the ground. There's no camera on the ground. When there are conflicts in the other part of the world, there are reporters there. They can report from the real scene on time in life. But in the case of Uyghur, the people only hearing stories from here or there, and then nobody so far conducted any investigation or observation about what really happened in East Turkestan. Because I have many sources of information, the situation I know is many times worse than what the outside world know. Even in such a situation right now, if the world allows China to hold the Winter Olympic Game next year, it is a really a stain on the face of this world. It's happening in the 21st century, while the whole world is watching. It is so bad, and that's why yesterday I tweeted, I praised a senator who are going to take some action. I said it's the starting of a period of darkness in the history of the world. That's really like that right now. If people really know what really happened to the Uyghur people in Turkestan, it is much worse than what had happened during the World War II. But people don't know that because no reporters, investigators are allowed on the ground. And China is destroying the evidence, hiding the evidences, and so the Uyghur people are in a very bad situation.
As we all know, the World Uyghur Congress recently held elections in a big conference in Prague. Could you speak to the World Uyghur Congress's current role in tackling these issues?
Yeah, the World Uyghur Congress is the biggest organization that represents the most Uyghurs living abroad, and they usually hold a conference or congress once in 3 years. But because of the CCP virus, it was delayed this time. It is supposed to be held last year actually, so it's delayed. So we had a very good panel discussions in the first day, and the reporting from the previous 4 years of work. And the last day we hold elections. So it's a very good Congress. The World Uyghur Congress knows very well what is supposed to be done from now on. But when the world just listen and keep silence about what China is doing, it's very hard to make a real progress on the ground in East Turkestan. That's something that worries me greatly. If people recall, the Erkin Sidiq, one of the witnesses, the camp witnesses, told to many reporters so far that she noticed a huge change in the camp detainees in a 2 to 3 months time period. Right now, the mass detention of Uyghurs, it has been 5 years since the mass detention of Uyghur people, starting 2017. And my information tells me that about 9 million Uyghurs have been detained after 2014. If I say this, many people may get surprised. The Chinese government reports the Uyghur population as 11 or 12 million. But that's not true. The world should know that Chinese government even hiding the population number of their own citizens, Han Chinese. The current Chinese population number is not real. Is not correct because they are hiding a lot of things. When it comes to Uyghur people, this is part of their strategic plan. The one thing is they hide the original number of Uyghur population. My sources, including the US sources, say that there were about 20 million Uyghurs before 2017. So this is the real number. China says there are only 11 or 12 million. And in 2018, in September 2018, one of the vice president of China's central government think tank said, altogether there are 6 or 7 million Uyghurs in Xinjiang. This is a quote. So they are indicating that they want to keep about 6 to 7 million Uyghurs alive, get rid of the rest. It is happening. It is happening. If you notice what Erkin Sidiq told us, she noticed that the people after 3 months living in a camp, many of them couldn't walk by themselves. They have to have an aid to walk. They couldn't walk by themselves. They changed it so much. How about 5 years? How about if you count from 2014? It's 7, 8 years now. So the people in jails and concentration camps, in my estimate, may live at most for another 5 to 10 years. And the people in forced labor factories may live in another, for another 20 to 30 years, because they cannot go home during the week. They only can go home once a week. And the food, the nutrition is very bad. And the other people outside the jails and the camps, and if you look at the video, how they are living right now, basically they're slaves. And I have been telling the outside world that Xi Jinping's plan is to kill 1/3 of the Uyghur population and lock up 1/3 of the Uyghur population and convert the rest 1/3 of the Uyghur population into automatons or to people living in a level of middle ages. It's happening right now. And those people who are not in jail and concentration camp may not live beyond the age of 70 because the conditions are so bad and the people are fed up. A lot of people are wishing to die because the life is so harsh. And don't mention in the prison and camps, even the people outside the prisons and camps having the same desire right now. So this is the current situation. We have lost a lot of people, and this can be seen from the videos that we have been getting right now. They're like 70 to 80% people who are working in a farm or in a desert. They're all females, no males. So if this whole situation continues, people can imagine after 20, 30 years, the East Turkestan becomes a land that no Uyghurs. Even right now, all the Uyghurness of the people who are living are gone, nothing left. So this is the situation. So under this kind of situation, the world still having seminars, discussions, interviews, and these are good, and reporting. There are a lot of reporting on Uyghurs right now. Those are good, but it's not helping. The Chinese government does not care about that. And you can see this from the other fronts, not related to Uyghurs. Recently, one tennis player disappeared, something like that. So this is the situation we are in. And I am extremely worried that I cannot laugh anymore, I cannot smile anymore, because I get this kind of news every day, and I can see the whole scene in East Turkestan that the world not paying attention to. So it is really important that the world started to take some action, stop talking, because otherwise the Uyghur people will be washed away from the surface of the earth.
I mean, you've just mentioned the tennis star Feng Shui. What was your reaction when the whole world was asking, where is Feng Shui? How did you feel when that was happening when compared to millions? I read an article recently from Enes Kanter saying that we should boycott the Olympics for Feng Shui's sake.
Yes.
Which is, okay, it's great, but why wasn't this for genocide's sake, or for Uyghurs' sake? What was your reaction to that?
Yes, this is just one example. It explains basically how easy it is in China to disappear one person. In the case of Uyghur people, I have been telling the Chinese government moved 2.1 million Uyghurs to the other part of China and dispersed them and disappeared them. So nobody asks where they are. So the Feng Shui is just one case. And if people follows the Chinese news, especially the free media news, they will know that this happens all the time in China. Feng Shui is a tennis star. There are other movie stars and other top-level Chinese government officials. It's happening all the time. They either they disappeared, they like suicide. Sometimes they say somebody suicide. They committed suicide, kind of just disappear like that. It's very common. So now people should start to think that how easy it is for Chinese government to get rid of the 2/3 of the Uyghur population. It happened, and it's still happening right now. And the Feng Shui is just one case.
Well, the situation seems to be very dire. What does the world need to do? What are the concrete actions? I mean, we've been hearing of again diplomatic boycotts. Is there anything else that obviously needs to be done? But what are those things?
Yeah, the diplomatic boycott is a good thing, but it doesn't affect the Chinese government that much because they already started to prepare for that. They will say, "Oh, because of the coronavirus, the foreign officials didn't come to the game." As you know, even in Japan last summer, the Olympic Games, no audience basically. So China can say the same thing. Oh, that the foreign government officials didn't show up because of the coronavirus. So this boycotting actually does not have much meaning. What is important here is after World War II, the world came together and established the United Nations to solve the problems at that time. And it did very well. It worked very well. It solved many, many problems. But that United Nations right now is almost no any role. It cannot do anything when it comes to China. All the international institutions became a useless machine when it came to China. This is a shame. This is a shame to the whole world and should be changed. If the United Nations cannot deal with the problems in the 21st century, the world should come together again, come up with something else that works, and solve this kind of atrocity and the crimes. Otherwise, the whole world right now is so disappointed on losing the moral because everybody knows what's going on in China and they're doing nothing about it, including the CCP virus. The recent number is like more than 5 million people died because of the CCP virus, and the world is not taking any action on that front either. It is so bad, and that's why I call this world is the beginning of a darkness in the history of the humanity. I really feel that way, and I don't know when it stops or if it can be stopped. If it does not be stopped, the world will be a very worst place to live in the near future.
As I mentioned at the beginning of the show, you are the founder and president of the Uyghur Projects Foundation. Could you please speak to, again, you've mentioned it before, but I just want to remind our viewers that what is the Uyghur Projects Foundation and how can people help?
Yeah, as I just mentioned, the Uyghurness in East Turkestan has completely disappeared. The Uyghur people are not allowed to speak their language, live in their custom, follow their culture. So nothing about Uyghurness left in East Turkestan. So we realized there's a need to save the Uyghur culture, language, and identity abroad. That's how we came up with the Uyghur Projects Foundations in June of 2019. So we are doing some projects related to this area, like we support some Uyghur language schools, and there's some Uyghur books, published some Uyghur books, this sorts of activity. So we are doing as much as we can to preserve the Uyghur identity, culture, language abroad. That's the main goal of the Uyghur Projects Foundation. We are nonprofit organization registered in the US. The donations will be tax-free.
Excellent. So everybody, I've just put up the link there. So you guys can go to, if you want to help out and donate, you can go to uigursfoundation.org. Is there anything else that you'd like to mention, that you'd like to bring up? Do you have any special projects going on? And obviously we've got the verdict of the Uyghur Tribunal coming up in the next couple of weeks. What do you hope this will bring? Will it bring about any change, or will this just be another sort of decision or sort of policy that will come about and bring about nothing?
This Uyghur Tribunal will give a legal basis against the crime of the CCP regime in Uyghur genocide and the crimes against humanity. So that's very good. But as you know, it's not binding. Their decision is not a binding. nobody can hold CCP regime accountable to the crimes they have committed. So it is still in the category of talking. I have been dividing all the things happening in the world into two big categories. One is talking, one is the real actions. So this is again in the category of talking, and still there's no real action. For me, the real action is the international community, somebody like a UN or European Union or somebody, send in an observation team or investigation team to East Turkestan and let them station there and look at what's the situation. So far, some reporters and the government officials are allowed to go to East Turkestan and look at some concentration camps, but they all staged. The Chinese government prepared several places for them to see, and those people saw some camp detainees playing basketball and some camp detainees dancing in a classroom. Let me tell you the truth. I got some information. Some of my friends recognized some of those people who are police officials, all of them. They dressed up in a plain clothes and did the dancing and the playing basketball in the court. They are not camp detainees. So far, no reporters or foreign government officials have seen the real concentration camp. They haven't seen that. The information I got is, I got one piece of information from a top-level police officials in so-called Xinjiang, and he said that when my friend asked him, what is the situation in concentration camp? He said, imagine there's a hell on earth. The situation in concentration camp is at least 100 times worse than the hell. This is a quote. This is a direct quote. So this is the situation. And this is the situation I have been telling the outside world, that the people don't know what's really going on the ground of East Turkestan. So people should send in some investigation team, observation team, and act accordingly. Otherwise, all the talking so far, it's not in full scale or in full depth, just from here or there. But nobody knows the real situation, because in concentration camps, prisons, no camera allowed, and so far nobody got single picture of it. So this is the current situation, and I don't know when the outside world starts to take real action. The Uyghur people cannot last more than 5 more years, I think. The situation is very bad. The people in the prisons and the concentration camps are hoping to die because the condition is not livable. That's the situation right now. And we don't know how many already died. Last year, I got a piece of information from police officials, which says that about 1 million people have died since 2014 as a result of the Chinese government's crackdown on the Uyghurs.
I sort of worry about this unfettered access, because you may know I interviewed, I think it's like last week or the week before, UN human rights lawyer Emma Riley, and she was talking about, and you may have heard of this, that China has been getting names directly from the UN, you know, of this situation. Then I thought, well, if the UN are going to go to East Turkestan to do an investigation, is that really going to work? What are you going to find after they clean up all the murder that they've committed? And that sort of worries me more. Once that access is given and perhaps they find nothing, just like with the CCP virus, perhaps things will get worse.
That's right. It's very true. Some time ago, I heard one Uyghur person suggesting that the United States Secretary of State Blinken should go to East Turkestan and take a look. I said, no use. Actually, it's not a plus to Uyghur people. It's going to be minus. The reason is, if he really goes to East Turkestan and see some places, it's all staged by the Chinese government. It's not a real situation. It does not work. Right now, the Chinese government basically bought out all the international machines, including the United Nations. So nothing in that sort work at the moment. That's why I have been suggesting to come up with something else that works. The world basically fooling themselves. The international institutions fooling themselves. It is only exists in name. In reality, they cannot do their job because of the influence from the Chinese government. This is the world we are living in right now. It is very sad. And another thing is, recently, many well-known people around the world, like scholars, artists, and government officials, are supporting the Chinese government. Speaking for them, if people who follow the Chinese free media, they will know that the Chinese government has an ancient tradition in buying out people. They use basically three main means. First is money. When some high-level people go to China for business, they send in some one hand-carried bag of money. Second is the woman. They send in pretty girls at midnight at 12 a.m. They knock the doors, they come in. And the third one right now is the organ transplant. This is not my word. If you doubt about this, and go and listen to Wu Jianming. Wu Jianming speaks about this kind of problem almost every week. This is the Chinese tradition. And they applied this very successfully in the recent years. And that's why many people, after they go to China for business, they become a different person, different people. Completely. They are blind. Their eyes cannot see, their ear cannot hear, and speaks for China. It's so amazing. After they go to China for business for several weeks or several months, they become a different person. This is the Chinese tradition in controlling the other people or buying out other people, and they are using this successfully at the moment in the world scale, not here and there in the world scale. And that's why we just from time to time hear somebody come out and speaks for China. It's amazing. They just don't see anything on the ground and just praise the China.
We have a question here from Keklik T asking, have you seen any cooperation with Turkish organizations in this case?
No, I didn't see that one. Recently, we all knew that China had a prison in Dubai or Alibaba. What's the other place?
Abu Dhabi.
Abu Dhabi, yeah. And about 2 years ago, about 3 years ago, I got a piece of information that the Chinese government, actually the Chinese army, is carrying out 1 month of operation in which they are sending Uyghurs, handpicked Uyghurs, in a dedicated plane to Saudi Arabia for organ harvesting. One plane in a day, about 500 people. There should be operation like that going on in Saudi Arabia. And I mentioned this several times, but nobody paid attention because the Chinese government marketing the Uyghur people as a halal organ, Uyghur people's organs as halal organs. And the people are specially selected for the purpose.
Sorry, Dr. Erkin Sidiq, are you saying, you're saying planes of 500 Uyghurs are like cattle? Like yes, they're flying to Saudi Arabia and they're, subhanallah.
From Shanghai to Saudi Arabia. They have an underground operation for halal organ harvesting. So it happened for about a month. I had a very reliable information from a very top level of official actually about that.
And when was this?
In 2018.
2018. Wow.
2018 or 2019, I can check that again.
Like it's
the thing. Yeah. The thing. You see, we had 20 million Uyghur population before 2017. How many left right now? This is a very easy thing to do, and nobody care about it. But the people like me, I care about it, and half of those people are gone. They disappeared. Where they are? Are they alive? I mean, it just happened. Like the one number I got is 2.1 million Uyghurs were moved to Han provinces. Where they are right now? Are they still alive? I have been saying it's the experimenting with Uyghur people is free. But if you buy animal, like a rats or cat or mice, you pay money for that. So Uyghur people are being used like that for biological experiments, for example, for this vaccine development and the coronavirus tests, for everything. But the world is not paying attention to that because they didn't see it. How they can see it if they don't send in any people to China and observe or investigate? It's impossible. China is very good in that aspect. They do big operations at night so that even the satellite cannot pick up any images. And the bitter winter had many excellent reports about this. That the thing is, the world is not caring about what's going on to Uyghur people.
There was a question earlier by David Badagani. He asked, what was the number that you had mentioned? And we said it was around 1 million. And he says it's not recorded on Xinjiang victims database. Now, this is a very important point. What everyone has to understand is that the testimonies on such databases are only of confirmed cases or verified cases. And generally, this information is from people who are overseas who cannot get in contact with their family members. Now, obviously, not everyone has family members who are living on the outside and therefore cannot verify and confirm these disappearances. But based on the number of camps, based on the number of cells, based on witness testimony from former concentration camp detainees of how many people they witnessed die or disappeared, there's a guesstimation, and there's leaks and drips and drabs that come out of the camps. So this is where that sort of number comes from, where it be the number of people actually detained or killed in these camps.
Yeah, let me add one more piece to that one.
Yeah.
Another important aspect is people lost contact.
Yeah.
Many people, okay, the first thing is that the database only includes the people who are relatives for Uyghurs living abroad. Even the Uyghurs living abroad, they lost contact with a lot of relatives, family members. Like me, my last contact with my family was January of 2017. It's 5 years now. I didn't have any contact with them. In this kind of situation, I was told that one of my cousins were taken, but I couldn't find out the current situation, if she is alive or dead. This is the situation for most Uyghur people because there's no communication and they cannot figure out who are alive, who are gone. So this is the situation. That's why it doesn't go to the database. Again, the next thing is, as you said, the Chinese government knows that arresting the relatives of the Uyghurs living abroad is problematic. It's problematic. So they can do anything with the Uyghurs who don't have any relatives abroad. So most cases are not in the database. It's impossible for them to get the information. In my last visit to our homeland is 2009. When I went there, we gave a party. We don't call it parties, nazir kind of things. My dad passed away. My wife's dad passed away. I didn't go back for 15 years, so we did a nazir gathering. At that time, I got about like 150 relatives in the gathering. In 2020, in January of 2020, one of my cousins held a wedding in Aksu. I got a video clip of it, only about 20 people. So I don't know what happened to the rest, if they are alive, dead, in concentration camp or prisons, I don't know, because I absolutely no contact with them at all. And this is the situation that the Uyghur people live. Now, the people in the outside world, in the free world, should think, you see, in the 21st century, for a person, it is not possible to make a phone call to their family members in 5 years. What kind of situation this is? And this is happening in China, and the world is okay with it, and allowing China to hold the Winter Olympic Games. What it is? That's why I call it's the darkness of the history. We are heading there right now. This may not end with the Uyghur people if the Chinese government are not stopped.
And just a bit more information, those that actually do testify, there's only a fraction of the population on the outside that have testified. So the vast majority of Uyghurs are too scared. I mean, I was speaking with a relative yesterday, and I found out from my mother's side that most of her family, and inshallah, I'm going to make further testimony on them, that all of them have been are in the camps, and they are from a place called in the city of Kucha in Xinjiang. I've just found this out, and there's only 1 or 2 people on the outside. So you'll be hearing more from me about this testimony. I believe the crazy numbers of our relatives are still in the camps. Is there anything else that you would like to add before I close up this stream?
Yes, my last wish is please act. Let's have something happen to stop the genocide and crimes against humanity in East Turkestan. Otherwise, it has been about 5 years for seminars, interviews, meetings, discussions, but the China didn't give a damn care about that, and they are still implementing their master plan, which is to kill 1/3 of the Uyghurs, detain, lock up 1/3 of the Uyghurs, and convert the 1/3 into automatons, or to people who live in a level of Middle Ages. This is all happening. We didn't have much time left unless we take some real actions. Please help save the Uyghur people. Thank you.
Brothers and sisters, make sure you get this news out there. Please follow Dr. Erkin Sidiq on his Twitter for the latest on-the-ground news. It's things that you generally won't see on mainstream media. Make sure you guys share this video. I'll be closing this video out, Dr. Erkin, but don't leave the stream, because then I can say goodbye to you properly afterwards. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Ümit üzme aziz halqim, ümit üzme ey ana yurt. Biz atlandık bu güreşke, o yıl taştak uyuşup. Allah verse bu nusretni, bizgilerimiz sep